You okay, huh? You're gonna be okay.
We'll see you at breakfast.
They really should have water in here. Charles, do you have any water on you?
They took my bag, sweetheart.
Welcome to today's video. Today we recap a 2023 horror movie titled Infinity Pool. The movie focuses on James, a novelist who is out of ideas for his next book. James is desperate for inspiration and is ready to do anything or get any experience that will inspire him. In search of inspiration, he comes across something that will drastically change his life forever. If that sounds interesting, hit the button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and let's get into the video. The movie kicks off with James and their wife, Em, in a resort in a seaside country, La Toca. Apparently they are here so James can get inspiration for his next novel. Early in the morning, after the couple gets out of bed, they step out of the room to get breakfast, and that's when they realize that a local festival is going on. The hotel manager is seen with the rest of his team, all putting on creepy masks. It was all part of the festival of the country. The hotel manager welcomes everyone and asks them to enjoy their stay. James and Em sit and have breakfast right there. Em tells James that she wants him to go out for dinner, but he does not agree. They then talk about their plans and the trip ahead of them, how they have to leave the country to return to their country in 3 days. After breakfast, she leaves for the beach. A while later, James also heads to the beach, but he sees a man causing commotion with a four-wheeled bike. As he watches the man, a young woman named Gabi comes up to him and chats with him. She tells him that she's a big fan of his work and even read his first ever novel. James does not think the novel did well, but she disagrees. This makes James very happy. He then introduces Albin, her husband, to him. Both exchange warm greetings, and James and his wife get invited to dinner. That night we see James and Em seated in a restaurant with Albin and Gabi having dinner. There they do more introduction, and we now know that Albin is an interior designer, Gabi is a commercial ads actress, and Em is the owner of a publishing agency. Currently she's the one taking care of herself and her husband, as James' writing is currently not going well. Later that night, James and Gabi dance together, but he gets a strange, mysterious feeling. Another day we see 4 of them going out together in one car. They get to a beach and they relax, but James keeps on looking at Gabi. After a while, James goes to urinate behind a tree, and Gabi out of nowhere grabs him from behind and gives him a handjob until he is satisfied. They spend the whole day at the beach and finally leave at night. While driving back, the lights of the vehicle start going on and off, and out of nowhere we see a man directly in front of the car. James accidentally runs him over and the man dies instantly. James decides to submit to the police, but Gabi does not support him, telling them that the police in that country are very corrupt and he will not get justice. They all reach an agreement and they head back to the resort. The next day, the police knock on James' door and arrest him for the murder he committed the previous night. We then see James with Detective Thresh at the police station. Thresh tells James that the firstborn son of the man he murdered will have to kill him as punishment for the crime. He makes it clear that their country has unique ways of handling legal matters. The detective also provides James with an alternative. This alternative allows the guilty to be cloned, and the clone will face the punishment instead, but that is for people who can afford it. James, who married into money, pays the fee to have his clone killed before his eyes. James is then stripped naked and dipped inside a special chemical. In the pool of chemicals, he hallucinates and passes out. Em then wakes James up in a hospital and tells him that it's time for the clone to be killed. They head down to where the deed will take place, and a perfect-looking clone of James tied to a pole. A young boy, the dead man's son, comes in and starts stabbing the clone till the clone dies. This makes Em freak out and tries to leave the room, but James remains composed as he watches the whole process. After the process, Detective Thresh gives James the ashes of his clone and he takes it back to the resort. Back in the resort, the couple starts packing to head back to America, and James does something unexpected. He hides his passport. Em is upset that James can't find his passport because James can't return to America without it. He tells Em to return to America without him. He will join her in a few weeks. The next day, after Em has left, he goes to extend his stay, and he comes across Albin and Gabi. Gabi already knows everything that happened to James, although she didn't know he hid the passport on purpose. She also knows about the unique legal practice in the country. She then takes James to meet a group of fellow Westerners. All of these Westerners have also at some point in their stay in the country been convicted of crimes that forced them to pay for clones just like James. At this point, James already got the inspiration for his new novel. These people return to the resort annually, commit heinous crimes, and pay to watch their doubles get slaughtered. It was already a fun yearly routine for them. While they were seated, a man stood up and filled the gang with what their next crime would be. The plan is to trouble the head of the country, and James is excited about it. At night, they wear masks and head to the head's house. They get to the house and take everyone hostage right in the house. Gabby then asks James to kill the leader, but James hasn't killed anyone before and he is not able to do it now. The next day, they are all in jail, but of course they pay their way out of it and have their clowns get killed instead. James now has 2 ashes of his clone. Later that evening, Gabby meets James and they kiss. Then head back to the room and gives James an intoxicating plant. She also uses the plant and they both get high. They kiss more passionately this time and they make love. James continues hanging out with his new friends, and one night he is stunned when he is tricked into physically abusing a clone of himself he had been led to believe was the detective Thresh who initially arrested them all. In a moment of clarity and panic, James realizes that these friends are bad people, and he retrieves his hidden passport and attempts to leave the country. But the group hunts him down and captures him from the bus transporting him to the airport. Gabby tells him that she finds him pathetic and that the group is abusing him for their own amusement, hoping to turn him into a fellow murder tourist. He runs off into a nearby wilderness. Gabby shoots him in the leg as he tries to escape. After hours of trying to escape, James faints at a farm, where a local family takes him in to heal him. In his drugged state, he experiences a series of hallucinations, and when he becomes conscious, a young boy, the son of the man he mistakenly killed with his car. The boy strangles him and he hallucinates again. Once he has regained his strength, he is again confronted by Gabby's group, who orders him to kill a duplicate of himself to complete his transformation. He initially refuses, but when the clone attempts to kill him, James beats him to death. As a reward, Gabby exposes her bare breast to James, inviting him to breastfeed and welcoming him to the group. The next day, as the group heads back to the United States, they casually chat about upcoming errands, while James is seated at the back, obviously in shock because of the recent happenings of the past few days. He finally gets to the airport, and while waiting in the airport for his flight, he changes his mind and decides to stay behind instead. He goes back to the closed resort, where he sits by himself amidst the downpour of the monsoon. That's all for the video. What do you think about the way the movie ended? Let me know in the comment section. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already.